welcome to the final episode on the main podcast for a little while. More to come on that in the next few days. In this episode, we're going to be speaking about the Invincibles. No, not Arsenal from all those years ago, or Bayer Leverkusen from a few years ago. We're going to be talking about an international Invincible team, who, of course, is Spain. And a quick reminder before we properly get into this, wherever you're listening to the podcast, please do make sure that you've hit the follow button. You really will want to make sure that you're not missing any episodes, especially as the Football for Kids new season begins. The Invincibles of international football then. Imagine playing one football match without losing. Not bad. Then another. Then 10. Then 20. Then 30 of them. And still nobody can beat you. When football fans hear the word Invincible, they often think of Arsenal's famous team from the 2003-2004 season. They completed all 38 Premier League matches without losing once, 26 victories, 12 draws, and one place forever in football history. But now, international football has its own Invincibles. On the 19th of July 2026, Spain defeated Argentina 1-0 after extra time in the World Cup final at New York, New Jersey Stadium. Ferran Torres scored the winning goal. Spain became world champions for the second time, and La Roja, which means the red one, completed their 38th consecutive match without losing in normal or extra time. It was a new record in men's international football. 38 matches, different countries, different competitions, and some of the strongest opponents on earth. Spain had not simply won the World Cup, they had become almost impossible to defeat. So, every great football story needs a beginning, and every story needs a middle. And, well, I guess eventually it will have an end. But Spain's incredible unbeaten story began in the strangest way possible. Actually, it started with a defeat. On the 22nd of March 2024, Spain played Colombia in a friendly at the London Stadium. Spain controlled plenty of the ball, but after half-time, Colombia suddenly sprang into life. James Rodriguez launched a sweeping pass towards Luis Diaz, who raced down the left wing like somebody had hit the turbo button on his back. He twisted past defenders, lifted across into the penalty area, and then Daniel Munoz threw himself through the air. Whack and boom, an acrobatic volley into the top corner. Colombia won 1-0 that night and celebrated their first ever victory over Spain's men's team. Now, it would be wrong to say that one defeat instantly made Spain rip up their football plan, because the Spanish manager had already been trying to make Spain quicker, wider and more direct after taking charge following the 2022 World Cup. Spain could still pass the ball beautifully, of course they could. But now they also wanted to attack space, race down the wings and strike before defenders could get comfortable. Less passing for the sake of passing, and more passing with purpose. That seemed to be the Spanish manager's objective. The Colombia match was not the day Spain discovered a magical secret. Oh no. But it was the final defeat before something magical happened. 4 days later, Spain faced Brazil. And match number 1 of an astonishing 38-game unbeaten streak was about to kick off. Spain's new football was not about throwing away everything that they already knew. That would be ridiculous. It was about taking their beautiful passing game and adding speed, bravery, and a little bit more lightning. Luis de la Fuente, the Spanish manager, usually sent Spain out in a 4-3-3 formation. That meant 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackers. But once the match began, those players could move and swap positions until Spain's shape seemed to stretch, twist and transform like a footballing robot. Because that's what the best teams do. The biggest change could be found out on the wings. On one side you had Nico Williams, I've done an episode on him. On the other side you had Lamine Yamal, I've done a couple of episodes on him. 2 natural wingers who wanted to race directly towards defenders, challenge them and make something happen. UEFA's technical experts explained that Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal give Spain genuine width. By staying far apart, they stretch their opponent's defence across. It's like pulling open a pair of curtains and creating some gaps. That is exactly what those wingers do for Spain. But Spain's real magic was not only about what happened with the ball, it's about what happens when they lose it. Suddenly, the nearest players would swarm forward together. One blocked the pass, another closed the player down, a third waited to steal it. They worked like some sort of dream machine. They could pass like artists, attack like racers, and chase the ball like a team of extremely determined sheepdogs. That was Spain's superpower, you see. Every Spain player seemed to understand the picture in this 38-match Spanish magic show. 38 matches. Not a single defeat within 90 or 120 minutes, and I'll come on to that in a bit. That is not just a good run, that is an enormous football expedition, with mountains to climb, storms to survive, and some extremely dangerous teams waiting around every single corner. It began on the 26th of March 2024 with a wild 3-3 draw against Brazil. From there, Spain have faced countries big and small, from Andorra and Georgia to Germany, France, England, Italy, Portugal and Argentina. And still, none of those teams have been able to beat them in normal or in extra time. At Euro 2024, Spain were perfect. They played 7 matches and they won all 7, becoming the first team to ever do that at a European Championship without needing a penalty shootout. They defeated Croatia, Italy, Albania, Georgia, Germany, France, and finally, who can forget, they defeated England in the final. Then came more Nation League battles, World Cup qualifiers, friendlies, and finally the 2026 final. Now there's one little twist in this tale, and it's important that I pick up on it. In the 2025 Nation League final, Spain drew 2-2 with Portugal after extra time. They did lose the penalty shootout. But in football's official unbeaten run records, the match is counted as a draw because the teams were level after 90 and 120 minutes. That is how it works when you're looking at the record books. And perhaps that's what makes this story even better. Because being an invincible does not mean winning every single match 6-0 with everyone throwing flowers at your feet. No. Sometimes it means battling through 0-0 draws. Sometimes it means surviving a 3-3 thriller. Sometimes it means being tired, under pressure, and nowhere near your sparkling best. But when the final whistle arrives, you're still standing. Just about. 38 matches, 29 wins, 9 draws, 1 team that simply refused to fall. Spain's defence has been incredible. I think we've established that. But once Spain's defenders had locked the door and slipped the key into their pocket, the attackers went searching forward in this 38-game streak. Spain did not rely on one superhero. Lamine, Yamal and Nico Williams stretched the pitch with speed, skill and fearless dribbling. Yamal had already become the youngest player in European Championship history, while Williams scored in the Euro 24 final from Yamal's pass. At the World Cup, Mikel Oyarzabal became Spain's quiet goal machine. He scored 5 times and added 1 assist, with no Spanish player ever scoring more at a single World Cup tournament. Then came one of the biggest moments of them all. In the 106th minute of the final, Williams headed Pedro Porro's cross towards Ferran Torres, who smashed home that goal that made Spain the champions yet again. That was Spain, artists in midfield, lightning on the wings, and a different hero whenever they required one. One brilliant constellation of stars, moving together and making things happen. And when Spain finally looked back at the trail behind them, they discovered something extraordinary about what they'd achieved. They had climbed higher than any other men's international team had ever done before them. Italy had owned the record before, going 37 matches unbeaten between 2018 and 2021. Roberto Mancini's side won Euro 2020 during that run and seemed almost impossible to stop. Oh yeah, I've just remembered, it was them that beat England in the final that year too, wasn't it? Anyway, you'll never guess who stopped that unbeaten run. Oh, did you say Spain? Yeah, you would be right. Ferran Torres scored twice as Spain defeated Italy 2-1 in Milan, and their record-breaking journey came to a close. Argentina actually reached 36 matches without defeat before Saudi Arabia produced one of the greatest World Cup shocks ever, beating them 2-1 in 2022. Brazil and an earlier Spanish side had reached 35 before. And I guess perhaps the most exciting part is the final page hasn't even been written. 38 could turn into 48, 48 could turn into 58. Who knows? Spain's journey began after a defeat to Colombia in London. From there, 38 matches filled with roaring stadiums, exhausting journeys, tricky qualifiers and enormous knockout battles. Along the way, Spain won Euro 2024, became world champions for the second time and climbed beyond Italy's previous unbeaten record, a record which they made stop. But this was never a story of superheroes wearing magical boots. It's a story about different players with different jobs, but one team moving together. And that may be the greatest lesson of all when you think about Spain's 38-match campaign. Great teams listen, they learn, they change, they trust each other, and when somebody falls, the player beside them reaches out a hand. Spain did not become impossible to beat because they discovered a secret spell. They became impossible to beat because they never stopped believing in each other. And because of that, the Invincibles continued to march on. So remember, if you know someone who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about the Football for Kids podcast. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly or pitchside, I hope that you enjoy the game. See you next time. Oh, you didn't think the episode was finishing there, did you? If you've listened to the most recent episode on Mikel Oyarzabal, then you will know that from now on Football for Kids, for the new season anyway, we'll be doing a quiz at the end of many of the episodes. So, let's see what your footballing knowledge is like when it comes to Spain and their invincible run. Question number 1 is this. You can play along by yourself or you can turn this into your own mini kids versus adults episode. It's entirely up to you. Which country handed Spain their first defeat before the 38-match unbeaten run began? Can you remember? Question number 2. Who did Spain face in their first match of their unbeaten run? What was the game number 1? Who was it? Who did they draw 3-3 with? Question number 3. Which 2 speedy wingers helped Spain stretch opposition defences across the pitch? Can you name them? Question number 4. During the 38-match run, how many games did Spain win and how many did they draw? Can you remember that one? In fact, I'll give you 2 points if you can remember both of those. And the 5th and final question on this one, the end of this episode quiz, is this. Who scored Spain's winning goal in the 106th minute of a 2026 World Cup final? Okay, I guess you're ready for the answers, whether you're playing along by yourself or you're playing along in a car on a family trip or wherever you are. Question number 1's answer. It was Colombia, at the London Stadium, of course. Question number 2's answer. It was Brazil, and the match finished 3-3, of course. Question number 3. Who were those wingers stretching defenders all over the place? Yes, it was Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. Question number 4. How many games did Spain win and draw? If you got this one right, you get a point for each answer. Spain won 29 matches and drew 9 matches. And the last question was, who scored Spain's winning goal in the 106th minute of the 2026 World Cup final? Of course it was. It was Ferran Torres. How many did you get? you can let me know in the comments section on Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, you could be so kind to leave a 5-star review and let me know there. Or why don't you ask your adults to send an email to darren@footballforkidspodcast.com. And just a reminder for anybody who needs a pep talk, anybody who's got a birthday coming up, Football for Kids is on Cameo. So you can find me there and get your birthday messages, pep talks and anything else that you may need. See you soon.